Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. I hope your day is going well. My name is Tracy, and welcome to another episode of the Saturday Show. You see the title. And before I get started, there are a couple of bills that I want to pay. Of course, remember to subscribe. I'm at 297. That means I need three people out there who are watching that have never subscribed to this show to hit that subscribe button so I can reach 300. Give me an early birthday gift. Let me have this, please. Subscribing literally costs nothing. It's free. You can also get notified when I go live. So please subscribe. Please subscribe. I would appreciate it. Like I said, subscribing is literally free, doesn't cost you anything to do. Also, you can support me on Patreon, although not free. I use all the funds from Patreon to keep this channel, to keep the StreamYard um, going because it costs so much per month, but that's what I use it for. I also want to buy better equipment. So support starts at $2 per month. And so you can still support me on Patreon for very few, for little as possible. I mean, that's 50 cents a week. So support me on Patreon. Remember, next week it is Defeat the Duopoly Awards at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means there probably won't be a 4 o'clock show because I'll be still counting ballots. But we will have the Defeat the Duopoly Awards December the 14th next week, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looking forward to that. Remember the virtual scavenger fund, the virtual scavenger hunt fundraiser. I didn't put the word hunt, but the virtual scavenger hunt fundraiser is February the 1st, 2025 at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tickets are $20. My overall goal is to raise $1,500 so that I could get some new equipment, get a better microphone, a backdrop, um, audio sound, and editing equipment. None of that, those things are cheap. I hate asking for help, but the costs are so much that I just have to. So consider going to that. It is February the 1st, 2025. Those of you who I email often will get a flyer on that to help support. I need as much assistance as I possibly can get. Okay, so also remember to comment. Please comment today. You know I struggle when I'm by myself. So please comment. I would appreciate it. Um, Help us to get 25 likes and 15 shares. That is the campaign that we started off a couple of weeks ago. Haven't quite reached 25, but we're definitely getting more likes. So I'm going to continue that. So remember, the goal is to get 25 likes and 15 people to share this podcast. I've already shared it on my Blue Sky, which I didn't put up to follow me at, but help us to get to that 25 likes, 15 shares. And you see the topic today. So decided, you know what? You all know my Saturday show at 4 is always some out of pocket topic that I tend to get in rants about, and I didn't know all of that was in me. And this is probably going to be one of those ones where I just go off and people will be like, she's really that deep into it. So what I am doing today is I am ranking the challenge of the Super Friends characters. I'm going to do the villains first and then the heroes second. So I grew up in the 80s. And the challenge of there were several versions of the Super Friends. There was the Super Friends with Wendy, Marvin, Wonder Dog. There was the Super Friends Galaxy Stars, but wait a minute, let me see. Hold on a second, because I gotta see this. Um, Hold on a second, because I know there was the Wendy Marvin and Wonder Dog uh episodes. Um, I'm trying to find out these versions of the Super Friends because I want to get them right. And you would think, oh, just go to the next screen, but I never know how I show up on there. So Super Friends. Yeah. Okay. So da 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 45 minutes. Okay, so they had the series types. Okay. So they were first called the Super Friends, then the all new Super Friends Hours, then the world's greatest, okay, then Challenge of the Super Friends, the world's greatest Super Friends, then they were just called Super Friends, then they were called Super Friends, the Legacy Superpower Show, and then they were called the Superpowers Team. That's the one I didn't like. I did not like the Superpowers Team. Um, Galac, Galactic, Galactic Guardians. That's the one that had like the hero, quote unquote, with like the fire coming out of his head. Um, yeah, this was the one I was just like, ugh, I don't like this one at all. Um, yeah, it had El Dorado and Green Lantern and Cyborg and like I said, Firestorm. Yeah, Firestorm, not to be confused with the female Firestorm with the Marvel comics who could turn into fire. This Firestorm was like some stupid college kid, um, and he had fire like coming out of his head. Just didn't like it. So my all-time favorite version is the Challenge of the Super Friends. What made this show? This cartoon was tier one, period. Go argue with somebody else if you don't agree. This is a tier one show. Why? Because you had 13 villains, you had 13 heroes, and the Legion of Doom came out of a swamp. I'm trying to find that little bubble so at least I can show you. And boy, my hair is messed up. Um, Hold on just a moment here. I'm trying to find that picture. And let's see. Okay, so Legion, if I could spell, Legion of Doom headquarters. Yeah, I'm going to share this screen just so you can remember what it looked like. And of course, they never do what I want them to do. Okay, I'll share this one. And if you're watching, because I see someone watching, go ahead and comment because again, you know I struggle by myself. I'll show you the Legion of just so you can remember. Yeah, see, this is what it looked like, right? They were also known as the Injustice League, but I call them the Legion of Doom. According to this, they were located in Slaughter Swamp. Apparently, it's outside of Gotham. Um, Yeah, look at that. That's what they came out of. That's what made it awesome, right? They came out of that swamp and they would just bubble up anytime they would go like fly to like another universe, blah, blah, blah. Another reason why this was good, because each villain had a counterpart, right? Like you would have, and I'll talk about that as we move through me ranking these. Like each villain had a superhero counterpart that they would battle against, but they would battle against each other. Like some of the villains, they didn't highlight that much. And I was like, well, why are they there? And I'll talk about that too. Like most of these characters seem to be like Batman's villains. Batman was like their arch nemesis, rather. Batman was their arch nemesis. So you didn't get a whole lot of them their arch enemy was Superman. Maybe he had like Lex Luthor or Brainiac, but it wasn't like Superman was warring with the Riddler or warring with the Scarecrow or warring with Solomon Grundy or warring with, it was just like but most of these, for some reason, they were warring against Batman. You had the Riddler, Scarecrow, um, the Toy Man. I'll name some more when I get to them. So without further ado, I'm going to go from worst villain will be named first, then the top one last. Same thing with the superheroes. I'll try to remember to talk about who their arch nemesis was. Okay, so let's start this list off with the first Legion of Doom member that I didn't understand this Toy Man. Now, Toy Man, again, arch nemesis was Batman. Toy Man, according to Wikipedia, dresses like a jester and uses toy-based tactics to commit crimes. Now, it's saying here that Superman is his arch nemesis, but I thought it was Batman. I couldn't figure out what was his power? Like he would create toys like soldiers and that could move them. I didn't quite understand what his power was. Like he used toys to commit crime. And did he use his toys in the challenge of the Superfriends to commit crimes? Well, that one time where they took over like the world and he sent his toys to China to take over the military. Okay, that was, I guess, okay. But I never saw his powers demonstrated enough where I could think, oh, well, that makes sense. He just wasn't highlighted. I'm still thinking he was Batman, but Wikipedia is saying Superman, so I'm going to say Superman. Although I literally thought it was Batman. So that's like the worst one to me. Then you had Cheetah. Now Cheetah, obviously her arch nemesis is Wonder Woman. Cheetah, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Toy Man's power was creating destructive toys. Sorry, I didn't tell you what the power was. And so now Cheetah's power was cat-like reflexes, and claw-tipped gloves. How does that stop anybody? How does claw-tipped gloves stop anybody? Besides a bad Eartha Kitt impression, yes, it was a bad Eartha Kitt impression. What did she do? She was never featured. I mean, she was in the episode, but they always feature her getting duped over by Wonder Woman. It wasn't like Wonder Woman's powers is she's super strong. Not stronger than Superman, but she's super strong. How do you take claw gripped gloves and stop strength, right? Her character just didn't. She literally added nothing, and she would have like these lines like perfect girl. No, right? It just I didn't understand And my throat is very dry today, so that's why I got my bottled water. But she didn't have like these amazing, like she didn't have strength. She didn't have like a lasso of lasso of evil would be hers. She had nothing to combat Wonder Woman, who was her main arch nemesis. Like she did, like Superman didn't get in her face. Um, like there was a like she wasn't warring against Batman and Robin. She was just there. And again, the bad Eartha Kitt voice, it just was nerve wracking. Nerve wracking. The next one, in terms of the Legion of Doom, that I thought was completely useless is Giganta. Now, Giganta is unique because she had two arch nemesis. She had Wonder Woman and Apache Chief. So if she had um two, you would think, oh, well, she's gonna have like a whole lot of screen time. She didn't. I think I saw her turn tall like one time, and she never battled. Like Apache Chief would never hit her, obviously, because they didn't want boys learning, hey, it's okay to hit women. So they didn't like show like her battling like Apache Chief. It was always her battling Wonder Woman in the later cartoons, not on the Challenge of the Super Friends. Um, but it says, like I said, Wikipedia is saying Wonder Woman uh um was her arch nemesis, and so was Apache Chief. But I'm trying to see what her, like, she didn't have any besides being able to grow tall. I don't know what else. I mean, she has superhuman strength, but it was only when she was tall, right? She didn't have it when she was like regular size. And how did her clothes grow to be 50 feet tall and then just burst off? Right? Because if she grows to be 50 feet tall and then her clothes grow to be 50 feet tall, does that mean, and then when she would shrink down, her clothes would be like her normal size? Like, did her costume have powers too? That just I just didn't understand. Like what was she there for? I mean, I would think she'd be there to be Apache Chief's nemesis. It would make sense because he can grow 50 feet tall, she can grow 50 feet tall, but they never battled each other. And she really didn't battle anybody, right? She would just be there and grow 50 feet tall. Like that one episode where they had giants, where like Lex Luthor, Bizarro, uh, Sinestro, and somebody else all grew to be 50 feet tall. And they were just punking the Super Friends out. They didn't even feature Gigantica in that episode. And I'm like, well, it would make natural sense. She can already grow that tall. So why not just like cut out one and be like, hey, we can save this uh, radar gun that turns up 50 feet tall because we already got a person that can turn 50 feet tall. She wasn't even in that episode. She was just, like I said, it was like they wrote her in, but then they didn't think, oh, well, what can we do with this character? It's like they didn't think. The next one I thought was kind of useless. Um, the Riddler. Okay, so the Riddler uses riddles to taunt and confuse adversaries while committing crimes. And apparently, his power or strength is puzzle creation, problem solving, super intelligent evil genius, puzzle themed trap, and gadgets. So basically, he's a project manager. Like, what was he? Oh, and Batman and Robin were his nemesis. He just sits around and comes up with clever riddles. Like nobody was ever fooled by his riddles, either on the 1966 Batman show nor in this cartoon. Nobody sat there and thought, gee, you know what we need, Legion of Doom? We need somebody that can do riddles. Riddles, riddles. Like, you could do that on Slack, right? Like, basically, he could have just created something in Slack with a bunch of other project managers, came up with something, and then did that. Or he could have had like word problems. You remember word problems in schools? If train A goes this fast and train B goes that fast, when will they meet up? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, oh my gosh, the Riddler was just such a waste of time. Y'all please comment. I see y'all watching. At least say hello. Y'all know I struggle by myself. But like, what was he doing? I'm trying to read one of Riddler's riddles, but I can't even find one. Riddler's riddles. I'm trying to find one. And I can't even find one. And the only thing I can think of is people would be like, say, riddle me this. But nobody said that. Oh, here's one. No, Batman gave Riddler this riddle. I see without seeing. To me, darkness is clear as daylight. What am I? Man, I can't find any of the Riddler's riddles. I'm literally trying to look online to see, do I see any of his riddles? And I don't. That's how useless this character was to me. I'm like, okay, so you gonna just like what? Like, it's not like you can riddle kryptonite. Well, no, his arch nemesis was Batman and Robin. So, like, can you take away the utility belt using these riddles? Nope. Just sit. Let me just keep going. Okay, so another one that I think was terrible, but they could have used him a lot better, is Scarecrow. Scarecrow to me was an underused, misused villain because his power was he could use fear gas to bring people's worst fears to life. And of course, his power was fear gas, and his nemesis was again Batman and Robin. That is a power that I don't know why the show didn't capitalize on that more, because that's a great evil power, but that's a good power to have, right? You have the ability to create fear gas to make people's worst nightmares come true. That would just be like, think about, you wouldn't even have to go through like a whole lot to like rule the world or et cetera, et cetera. You could just gas everybody and have and they just never used it. They never used Scarecrow's power in any episode. I just thought this is such an underutilized villain that they really could have used better. Yes, I thought this as a child. That's how deep I was into this cartoon. And they just didn't use them. They just was like, okay, he's there. We need to make 13. So we're going to make 13. And this is what we need to round it out. But like I said, they could have just used his fear gas. They could have used it for Batman. And he could have used that against literally Batman and Robin. But never did. Never did. I'm going to look up something here real quick because it's going to come in handy later. Because I think, oh boy. Okay, so the next one I said, so we've done Toy Man, we've done the Riddler, we've done Giganta, we've done Cheetah. So the next one is Captain Cold, Cold. Okay, so this one literally made no sense. If he's Captain Cold and his powers are blue suited master of low temperatures, and his power was absolute zero ray guns, and his arch nemesis was the Flash. What episode was he in? What episode was like where was he at? Like they would just have him like he didn't freeze over the world. He didn't freeze open safes and steal money out of it. He didn't do anything that was. I'm getting a blanket because I'm not turning my heat on. Sorry, I'm just not because my gas bill was like over $500. So I'm not gonna turn on my gas. Nope. I'm getting a blanket so I can keep warm. But like, where was they just this is another one that was underutilized, but his one, I thought Captain Cole's arch nemesis was Batman. Apparently it was the Flash who travels really fast and could make enough heat to did he melt? Did he like if you just put enough heat around him, he just looked like he couldn't make things cold anymore? They never thought, hey, why don't we use Captain Cold to freeze like the brakes to the police while we're robbing banks? No. Just let him be out there. I don't understand why Captain Cold was in the cartoon because they literally did nothing with him. So I'm still trying to think of who I have a name. So we got Scarecrow. Wait a minute, we got Toy Man. Oh no, I didn't talk about Sinestro yet. Sorry. So we got Toy Man, Cheetah, Riddler, Scarecrow, Captain Cole, Brainiac. Oh, Brainiac. What was Brainiac's purpose? Like he was bald headed, Lex Luthor bald headed. He was smart, Lex Luthor smart. But he wasn't out here like plotting stuff. Oh, wait a minute. And his arch nemesis is gotta be Superman. Yes, okay, so I got that one right. Um, he's an evil alien android, and his power is super intelligence, advanced technology. And that stops Superman how? Like, are you out here like manufacturing kryptonite or something? Like, are you like what are you doing? Like, did you just make stuff? They never featured him enough in the episode for me to even care to research. Because like some of these I like research because I had to, because I'm like, well, what did they actually do? They didn't do anything with them in the cartoon. It was just like they were there to just be there so they could get to their 13. Like they could have got that one, that Mixoplex. Now, Mixoplex would have been good. If they got Mixoplex, well, no, because all you had to do is get him to say his name backwards, which don't ask me to pronounce his name backwards because I don't know. But he'd have been better than Brainiac because at least he was like little and cute. And his arch nemesis also was Superman. But I don't know what Brainiac did. I always thought, well, if you got two smart people, they couldn't have been too smart because they were always getting beat by the Superfriends. Like, how smart are you? Don't understand. Another one I don't understand. So, Sinestro. Okay, now Sinestro, now we're getting to the ones that I think were legitimately in there. I'm going to put off talking about Sinestro because I want to talk about Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy is he's a superpowered gangster revived as a zombie in the Slaughter Swamp. So just think Herman Munster turned evil. His strength is great strength and invulnerability. I don't know if that's a superpower, but it's listed. So he's got two or three. He, as his arch nemesis, he's got the Green Lantern, Batman and Robin, and Superman. So he's got like what five 5 people because you got to count Batman and Robin. So they're a pair. So I guess that's down to 3. I liked the Solomon Grundy character. I would have thought Ted Cassidy would have voiced him because he played Lurch, and that character kind of looks like Lurch, but they did Jimmy Weldon did his voice. I like the way that they used him in the cartoon. It wasn't like they tried to use him every episode, but they put him in every episode, but he always wasn't the lead in every episode, but you knew he was there and you knew he meant business. So, and here we go with the fire truck. So I liked Solomon Grundy a lot. And what else he did? Oh yeah, so the next one. Now I'm going to talk about Sinestro. Now Sinestro is basically Yellow Green Lantern. That's basically what he is, though. But I like the fact that they used Sinestro when Green Lantern was featured. Like they would always have, if you saw Green Lantern, you were gonna see Sinestro, right? And you knew like their powers kind of like, because that's the only one he could mess with. It wasn't like he was like here, like out here to get Wonder Woman. So like I said, basically he's Yellow Green Lantern. And his ring would outpower Green Lantern's ring, but Green Lantern's ring couldn't outpower Sinestro's ring, I think. I always forget that part. But loved the way they used him. Loved the way they used him in the cartoon, especially when they would go head to head and they would just like make objects. Like he'd make yellow objects and Green Lantern was like, I can't do anything. Or Green Lantern would make objects and he would just turn them yellow. Really good. I really like the way that they used him in the cartoon. I thought that was great. So I said Sinestro. Now I never get this character's name right. So I'm gonna get this character's name right. Gorilla Grodd. Probably my second favorite villain in the Challenge of the Super Friends. This guy, well, obviously, he's a gorilla. Like an actual gorilla, and apparently looking at his description, he's able to control, and I'm saying he because there was only one female, or no, 2 females on Legion of Doom. He has hyper intelligent telepathic powers and he's able to control the minds of others. I like when they went to and I think he was like an alien, came from like the ape world. Just think like Planet of the Apes, but he's coming from the he's like the bad guy, right? Because I think like the other ape or the other gorillas on the planet were like good and he got kicked out because he was so terrible. And let's see. And of course, now this one is kind of weird because they're saying that the Flash was his arch nemesis, which apparently, if you go to Wikipedia and click Gorilla Grodd, I gotta figure this out. Him and Flash had a past history. So they used him in that one episode where he was going back to take over Gorilla Land, and all the other gorillas was like, we gotta, and yes, it was, I don't know what it was called, but it was like the planet where he was from, and they were like, we gotta stop him, and they couldn't figure out how to stop him. Again, this is another one. I thought Batman was his arch nemesis, but they're saying the Flash, so I'm gonna just go with the Flash. That's what I'm gonna go with. So I think I've named everybody. I'm trying to think. Oh no, I didn't. Um, Black Manta. Black Manta is a strange one. I'm gonna bring up a picture of Black Manta because it's hard for me to I am bringing this up. Nope. Yeah, here we go. Just so you remember what he looks like. That's what he looked like. So this character was unique because like he's opposite Aquaman. He's a deep sea diver who would become an ocean conqueror. His strengths are he's an enhanced strength, he's got enhanced strength, water breathing abilities through artificial gills, high tech equipment, and laser beams. But his arch nemesis was Aquaman. I mean, like we gonna just do that. And y'all see where I'm getting my list at now. But um I almost wanted to put this in the bottom, but I kept it in the top half because I thought, they put them in enough episodes where it made sense. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Although Aquaman wasn't like the feature in a lot of episodes, but Black Manta was. So that made me always curious, like, what was Black Manta's backstory? Where did he come from? And like, was he a scientist? And why did he wear that get up and nobody thought to unplug those things in his head? But hey, they used the character really well. He was in enough episodes where I didn't forget about him. Like I forgot about Toy Man, literally. I was like, who? But it was in enough episodes where I thought, oh, well, that's that's um that's a good thing that they did. I cannot get my sense together. Okay, so next one, and obviously Aquaman was his arch nemesis, because who else would be his arch nemesis? Um, Bizarro. Bizarro. Okay, so this one is real easy. I'll start off with the easy one. His arch nemesis, Superman. Um, his powers are a little bit different. So they're the same as Superman, but often he'll behave in erratic and irrational manners, such as freeze beams from his eyes and flaming breath, as opposed to Superman's heat rays and freezing breath. He is a twisted duplicate of Superman, created from a duplication ray by Lex Luthor on Earth. So basically, Lex Luthor created Bizarro. Bizarro was used in almost every episode of the Challenge of the Super Friends. Almost every episode, Bizarro has some kind of funny lines, some kind of insight, and he would talk like this: me, Bizarro, me, do this, me, talk like this all the time. And like I said, opposite, just think Superman, but opposite. Like his face was opposite. Like his face was like squared with like you see most cartoons, they'll have like the soft features. They drew his face harder because again, he was created by Lex Luthor. So speaking of Lex Luthor, this is my favorite villain, period. Lex Luthor is a mad scientist and founder of the Legion of Doom. He's an evil genius, highly advanced weaponry, and of course, his arch nemesis is Superman. Lex Luthor is my favorite. Why? Because he's smarter than everybody else. Nobody in the Legion of Doom ever challenges his leadership. They never challenge his strategy, except for when Solomon Grundy did it on that one time. He always comes up with a plan. Now, sometimes the plans aren't the best, but he's always got a plan. He's always plotting. He's always scheming. He's always trying to think of how to destroy his arch nemesis and the Super Friends. Why he never thought to get kryptonite, that's beyond me. I have no idea, but that's literally my favorite. So now we're going to switch it over. I think I have named all of the villains: Bizarro, Black Manta, Brainiac, Captain Cold, Cheetah, Gigantic, Gorilla Grodd, Lex Luthor, Riddler, Scarecrow, Sinestro, Solomon Grundy, Toyman. Yep, I did. And let's try to get to the heroes. Now the heroes are a blurb. This is pretty much easier for me to do, but here's my only way it kind of evens out. Wikipedia is counting Batman and Robin as separate, but I'm going to count them together because literally you can't have one without the other. So I'm going to go from my least favorite to my most favorite in terms of the Super Friends themselves. So my least favorite has got to be Hawkman. I don't even know what Hawkman was there for. I don't know his backstory. I don't know his origin story. I don't remember him in enough episodes for him to be like, he was in like maybe one episode of the Challenge of the Super Friends, maybe. I just didn't get Hawkman at all. He didn't have, I mean, his superpowers. He could fly, and his nose looked like an eagle. I mean, what was he doing? I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think of what his power was. And nothing. Like, I'm reading his backstory and he doesn't have any. Like, why did they even feature Hawkman? Like, he was just a waste of time. Like, did they really need him? They could have brought back they could have, you know what they could have did? Had the Wonder Twins instead of this guy. Because he literally sat there and did like nothing. Nothing was what he was gonna do. Next one I didn't really understand was Apache Chief. Now, you just heard me say that Giganta could turn 50 feet tall. And so could Apache Chief. Apache Chief is the first indigenous superhero. And it was to increase the non-white characters in the show. Although he was in every episode except for one, but he only spoke like 9 out of 16 of the episodes of the series. They made him in the show more like his arch nemesis was, like I said, Giganta, but like he doesn't have like his own comic. Like his only power is, I think he like is in tune with like the animals of the earth, like the bears and the wolves and that thing. And it was like one episode he did talk to them, so they was like trying to make him like the land version of Aquaman. And And I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, somebody gave him a pouch full of powder that would amplify his thoughts hundredfold. He wanted to be strong and brave, which is why he turned 50 feet in size. And blah blah blah. I just didn't, like I said, and he always spoke the words Inchoch, Ineechoh, which was a Western Apache word meaning man big. Apache chief could grow to an unlimited size, 50 feet tall. In the episode Colossus, he grew to be many times the size of Earth, making himself able to battle Colossus, blah, blah, blah. And he also spoke in stereotypical Native American English and received vaguely and recited vaguely Native American philosophy. He had great tracking abilities, but it was just like, what I know why he was there. To, like I said, they wanted to add diversity, but they could have did a better job. Speaking of adding diversity, the Black Vulcan, which I call Black Lightning, was also on there. But wait a minute. It says here he's on the, no, this is not right. No, Black Vulcan was not on the Challenge of the Super Friends. Wait a minute, y'all. It's saying that, okay, hold on. That's not right. He was not on the, okay. Hey, no, that ain't right. That's not right. Black Vulcan. I know Apache Chief was. No, Apache Chief was. Well, we're going to skip it because I don't think Black Vulcan was a character in the Challenge of the Super Friends. But I know Robin was. Robin / Batman. Now, yes, they are low on the list because they were useless. No superpowers, no strength, no intelligence. I mean, they had intelligence, but Batman had the intelligence. Robin was just like some side piece that they just added. You couldn't have the Challenge of the Super Friends without Batman and Robin, but it always annoyed me. Robin with his holy fill in the blanks, just, oh my gosh, just did not understand it. And I'm still trying to find this list because I know that's not. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, Batman and Robin, just no type of, yeah, they had the bat belt and everything, but like if you took away the belt, like what were they doing? Right? They were just there. They were just literally there. They didn't add anything. Like all the enemies they had, it's like you could easily overpower these two. Just take away the bat belt. It's not like they're gonna sit there and out strengthen you for it. They're not strong. They're just really, really, really resourceful. Matter of fact, white privilege is their power. Because without that money, Bruce Wayne was not out here affording all that stuff without all that money. Apparently from the Wayne Foundation that did something, or rather, Aquaman. Aquaman made me sick. Probably, and I didn't kind of rank the superheroes because I'm just going off of the list and then just talking about what I thought about it. Aquaman is probably one of the most useless superheroes ever. The only thing that Aquaman could do is talk to sea animals. So if you take him outside of water, what use was he? Every episode of the Challenge of the Super Friends, it seems like they had to go some water to broadcast Aquaman. Aquaman, Aquaman, Aquaman. And it's like, and even there's one episode where Superman was like, well, I can't do it, but you can. Really? 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 I mean, Black Manta was his arch nemesis. Did they even fight in an episode? No. Just did not understand Aquaman at all. I also didn't understand the Green Lantern. Now, first of all, there's been 18,000 versions of the Green Lantern. There's the black one, there's the gay one, there's the Latino one. I mean, there's like 25 million versions, but I'm talking about the Challenge of the Super Friends ones. The one where the guy, Hal Jordan, was in the cockpit of a plane. It was going down, so the other guy that used to be Green Lantern gave him his green ring. All he could literally do is make green stuff with his ring. Basically, you just put Sinestro in front of him and he's done, right? I'm trying to see. Yeah, the character retold. The movie was terrible. I mean, he was there and he was turning stuff green, but I'm like, he's there. So I almost, again, most of these superheroes, they're outshined by two. So the last two I want to get to is Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman literally was in every single episode. So she's the core to the Super Friends, right? Her, Superman, Aquaman, Batman, and Robin, the core, right? She had a lot of arch nemesis, Giganta, Cheetah, Toyman, other Toyman, Riddler, kind of shared it. She also had something else, that invisible jet. That invisible jet where she would fly it, it's supposed to be invisible, but you can't see it. I mean, it's not supposed to be seen by the characters, but we can see it. Invisible jet. Invisible jet. Yeah, so Wonder Woman, okay, so Wonder Woman's strengths, let's see, Wonder Woman's strengths. Wonder Woman's strengths are plenty. Wonder Woman has enhanced strength, speed, durability, senses. Beauty does not count as a physical attribute, and intelligence. She has a natural defense against magical attacks. She also has that the breakable bracelets. The tiara can be thrown as a razor edge boomerang. So she's pretty much female Superman. That's basically what Wonder Woman is. But she's got a whole lot of skill in terms of the whole superhero genre, which would make sense about why she was in every single episode of the show. Like, she's what little girls wanted to be. We wanted to be strong, we wanted to be leaders. Although, again, they didn't have to mention her beauty as an attribute because she could have been busted and she still would have been strong. And one person's idea of beauty may not be the other person's idea of beauty, but we'll just let that slide. So that leaves one. I think I have named them all. Yep, because I said Batman and Robin. I said da 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 da. Okay. That would leave Superman. Now, what can I say about Superman that hasn't been said before? Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. This is the hero that every villain in Challenge of the Super Friends wanted to stop because they knew if you take out the strongest, if you take out the most powerful, you can pretty much rule the world. So let's look at Superman's strengths. Superman can fly. He has superhuman strength. He has infrared vision. He has superhero. He has superhero. He has super speed. He has super hearing. Super intelligence. Let's see what else. Oh, if you watch the movie Superman 2, he could take the whole planet, put it on his back, and then turn back time. Of course, he's super fast. He beat the Flash in a race. Um, um, let's see. That's super. So he had infrared vision, but he also had X-ray vision too. In terms of his weaknesses, he did have some, and these are, I think everybody knows these ones. The red sun. Most people know that kryptonite is Superman's weakness, but I don't think you knew that the sun was his weakness. The red sun was his weakness. Electricity also. So high voltage electricity. This might sound a little weird, but the man is still who can withstand high temperatures, even explosions. Is vulnerable to electricity. Sometimes it will weaken him and can kryptonite. We all know red sun radiations, magic. Now, who was sitting here talking about? Wait a minute. Most people know about Superman's aversion to kryptonite. Surprisingly, this isn't even his greatest weakness. It's fact, it's magic. Um, and that's why Mixoplex was a perfect alien adversary, because Mixoplex did a lot of magic tricks, and that's one people don't even think about. I'm trying to think of disease, but they never say what diseases he's vulnerable to, like diabetes. Let's see. I'm trying to think of all of them here. I'm looking on this list. And da 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 da. Yeah, this was just it. Like I said, you defeat Superman, the other 12 or 13 or 14 superheroes, they're falling down. Everything about this show was centered around Superman. Every episode, every time. That's who they wanted to stop. Yeah, they wanted to stop the rest of them, but Superman was the goal. Superman was the reason they got together. It was literally everything. So you think about it, without Superman, this show wouldn't have been, you couldn't have had a show without Superman, right? Because you'd be like, well, wait a minute. You're talking about superheroes and this DC Comics. Where is Superman? It'd be a hard show to do, and I don't think it would have lasted as long. So that's it, everybody. I don't know why y'all didn't comment. I guess y'all just watching me struggle today. But I will be back at 7 o'clock tonight with my guests. So be sure to tune in then. Remember to subscribe to this show. 3 away from 300. I know there are 3 people out there that can subscribe to make this my dream come true. Support me on Patreon. And some. Wait a minute. Now we got a comment in. Hello, Nelson. Superman can't fight magical powers like Black Adam or Shazam, but they don't have Black Adam back. Yeah, they didn't have Black Adam back then. And Shazam wasn't in the challenge. Because remember, I'm talking about Challenge of the Superfriends. So, he couldn't fight Mixelplex. And hello, Nelson. Thank you for checking in. So remember to support me on Patreon. The Defeat the Duopoly Awards are next week at 6 p.m. I am still counting ballots. That's how many people participated in the voting. The virtual scavenger hunt is February 1st, 2025 at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Help us to get 25 likes and 15 shares on this video and on my other ones. I'm going to take myself down and play the outro. I'll see you tonight at 7. Have a good, 2 hours before I see you again. Be sure to tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will see you when I see you, and I'm going to take myself down and play the outro.